him.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth.
But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say.
Sunny Hostin, one of the most outspoken and controversial figures on The View, recently found herself at the center of a scandal that seemed almost too ironic to be real. Known for her bold opinions on race, reparations, and identity politics, Sunny has built a career around calling out racial injustice. She is loud, confident, and often comes off as morally self-assured, creating a platform based on her strong sense of moral superiority. So, when she appeared on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show where celebrities explore their family history, everyone expected her personal story to mirror her public views. After all, a person who is so vocal about racial justice would likely have a family history that aligns with her stance, right? Wrong.
Critics are going hard after a liberal media member for vile comments about Melania Trump. The former First Lady appears to signal her support for reproductive rights in a video out yesterday.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
And this take is pretty shocking.
I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out.
Wow. I mean, that is violent. They've got to stop talking like that.
What Sunny uncovered on the show was nothing short of shocking, leaving both her and the internet in complete disbelief. Before we dive into the drama, though, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of the latest Hollywood gossip. Sunny sat across from renowned genealogist Henry Louis Gates Jr., ready to explore the mysteries of her ancestry. What she didn't know was that a bombshell of a discovery was waiting to turn her world upside down. It turns out her ancestors weren't struggling immigrants or oppressed minorities, as one might expect from someone so vocal about racial justice. Instead, they were slave owners. Yes, you heard that right. Sunny Hostin, the woman who has eye.
Because I do want to get back to this point with the left and Melania Trump. Why can't she just be her own woman and have separate?
And she can.
And so why all that criticism? I mean, that was gross from The View.
And
look,
agree.
The View is not the litmus test of America. We don't think that.
They were afraid of that remark. That was their problem.
So why did they
Spent years fighting for reparations and condemning the legacy of slavery, discovered that her own family had directly benefited from the very system she's spent her career denouncing. Her reaction? Shock, awkwardness, and an undeniable sense of discomfort. She blinked, clearly struggling to process the revelation. "I didn't think my family was originally from Spain or slaveholders," she stammered, almost as if the words themselves were too foreign to comprehend. For a brief moment, the room went silent, a heavy, uncomfortable silence that seemed to freeze the very air around them. Being the professional she is, Sunny quickly tried to salvage the moment, mumbling something about how this would make for an interesting tidbit for her kids to learn. But let's be honest.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted to play this, but we decided we shouldn't play it. We don't want anybody to have any sort of a way to get it down. The episode of you when you're on The View, when you were running for president.
Right.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to.
You got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you.
We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
We love it.
They're talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering, and then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Joe Biden knows how to do this. Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just...
The damage had already been done. And of course, it didn't take long for Fox News' Greg Gutfeld to pounce on the opportunity. If there were a trophy for irony, Greg would have just won it. He kicked off his segment with a punchline that hit the mark. Sonny Hostin's ancestors were slave owners? He quipped. That's like finding out a vegan secretly owns a barbecue joint? The audience erupted in laughter, and Greg wasted no time digging into the layers of hypocrisy. Sonny has been quick to call out others for their past mistakes, but now that her own history was on display, Greg pointed out a glaring double standard. Next time Sonny pulls the race card on The View, someone's going to remind her. At least we're not slave owner racists, he joked. But it wasn't all about the laughs. Greg also took aim at something many found troubling: Sonny's complete lack of accountability. Instead of offering any kind of apology or deeper reflection on her family's past, she brushed it off as just a fact of life. Naturally, social media went wild as soon as the revelation hit the airwaves. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok exploded with reactions. Some people were in complete disbelief, while others couldn't help but point out the irony of the situation. Many took to social media to share their thoughts, and the story quickly became the talk of the day. But as the backlash continued, the question remained: how would Sonny handle this? In the past, she's been quick to call out others for their hypocrisy, but would she be able to take responsibility for her own? Or would she continue to ignore the troubling reality of her family's past? This scandal has raised some serious questions about the double standards we often see in the world of public figures. It's easy to point fingers and call out others for their wrongdoings, but when it comes to facing our own history, things get complicated. Sonny Hostin has built her career on the belief that she has the moral high ground, but now she faces a challenge that might be harder to overcome than anything she's ever encountered on The View. Will she address her family's past with the same level of honesty and transparency she demands from others? Or will she continue to downplay the significance of the discovery, brushing it off as just another fact of life? As this story continues to unfold, one thing is clear: the internet isn't letting her off the hook. People are paying close attention, and they're waiting for her to take responsibility for her family's role in a history that she's spent her career condemning. Whether or not she chooses to do so is yet to be seen. But one thing's for sure: this scandal has left a lasting impact, and the fallout is only just beginning.
Now you know who has been bragging all over the campaign trail about how he's the one that overturned Roe v. Wade, but apparently his wife has different thoughts on the reproductive rights after posting this video plugging her memoir. Take a look.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
Sonny Hostin recently found out that her family had slave owners in their history, and this revelation quickly became a major topic online. It became one of the most talked about twists of the year, and naturally, the memes started pouring in. One of the most viral memes was a picture of Sonny with the caption, "Reparations. Let me write that check to myself real quick." It was both funny and a bit shocking to many. Some of her fans rushed to defend her, saying she shouldn't be blamed for actions her ancestors took, which seems fair on the surface. But others weren't as quick to show sympathy. They argued that it wasn't about blaming her for things that happened long before she was born, but about the fact that she often shames others while ignoring the secrets in her own family's past. One commenter wrote that it wasn't about blaming her for what her ancestors did, but about the hypocrisy of her actions. It's about the hypocrisy of shaming others while ignoring the skeletons in your own closet, the commenter stated. This sparked a bigger conversation, and Greg Gutfeld, a co-host on a panel show, didn't stop with just commenting on Sonny. He took the chance to speak about the larger issue of identity politics and how sometimes people focus too much on race and forget the bigger picture. According to Greg, when you focus so much on race, you miss out on seeing the individual as a whole person. He believes that when people focus too much on oversimplified identity issues, like race, it backfires in the end. He argued that this is exactly what happened to Sonny. It was a great example of how identity politics can go wrong. He also talked about personal responsibility and how it's not about who your ancestors were, but what you're doing right now. For years, Sunny has been lecturing others about accountability, so maybe it's time for her to reflect on her own actions, he said.